Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about one thing and one thing only, and that is building a character. Now, building a character, as I'm sure you're aware, can be a very tricky process. On the one hand, you want to make a character relatable, have flaws and depth, but at the same time you don't want to overdo it. So today, I'm going to be naming 3 things that you can do to build a character that, well, makes them effective and have developmental potential. First thing you have to do is establish what the character in your story does. This is pretty self-explanatory. Figure out what they do first, then start building around that. If they're the protagonist of your story, establish why they're the protagonist of your story, as well as what they're going to be do to solve the problem that you set in front of them. If they are a side character or in support of the protagonist, then establish why they're tagging along with the protagonist on their journey through to redemption, defeating the villain of your story, or solving any other problem that you may give them. If they're on the other side of the coin, the antagonist of your story, try to establish a clear and set motivation for their antagonist's actions, whether that's trying to take over the world, or, being a sociopathic pile of garbage. Number 2, if you're having trouble with personality, and this can be tricky, especially for me, I suck at writing characters with halfway decent personalities that don't feel like clones of people. Do that. Clone people. And by that I mean, try to base aspects of their personality off of people you know. This can be both kind of fun, kind of cathartic, depending on what what happens to them in your plot. Whether you kill them off, or, well, whatever. But anyway, yeah. Basing your characters off of people you know can be a very fun way to iron out aspects of their personality as well as develop them. And finally, number 3, after developing your character's personality, establishing what they're going to do, don't focus on making a character too deep. Now, this might sound weird, but bear with me here. I want you to think of something. Think of a cartoon you watched as a kid. Okay? You got the cartoon in your head now? Okay. Now, how many villains in that cartoon actually had deep and complex motivation outside of just trying to take over the world? Can't think of any, can you? Sometimes, the simplest villains are the ones that are the most memorable. Now, in the context of a story, a one-dimensional villain can be feel like a bit of a cop-out, but it is important to note that sometimes all a villain needs is halfway decent motivation, and not necessarily every single tragic backstory trope, just to make them feel deep and relatable. Villains don't necessarily have to feel deep and relatable. They should be intimidating and, well, and again, depending on the context of the story, fun. Look at the Joker. The Joker is an example of a villain who can do it nearly everything. He can be deep and tragic. He can psychologically manipulate people, which is literally how he got into his relationship with Harley Quinn. He can just blow crap up and expect it. And it's all compelling and entertaining depending on how he's written. The point is, you don't have to have a villain be extremely deep, deeper than a 12-foot deep swimming pool in order for them to be a good villain. We'll talk about good villains in another video. For now, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want more from me. Now I must go. My planet needs me. Peace.